When a microwave pinged, a bank alert popped up on his phone for €119 spent at a Barcelona hotel. He recalled the class schedule Eva had sent the previous week. Closed book exams from November 7th to 12th, but the date on this transaction was exactly when she should have been in the exam room. On the coffee table, her note was still tucked under a cup. "Baby, I'll come home right after my exams and bring you a Venice mask." Arthur stared at the handwriting on the note, then glanced at her newly updated social media post titled Paris Study Trip on his phone. His thumb unconsciously brushed the frayed edge of his shirt collar, a shirt she had given him last year, saying, "Men look most decent in white shirts." Arthur stood on the balcony of his Munich apartment, his fingers unconsciously brushing the rim of his coffee cup. The cold 6 a.m. air slipped through the open neck of his shirt, and the burn scar on his left shoulder glowed a faint pink in the early morning light. "Daddy, where's my teddy bear?" Emma stumbled out of the bedroom, rubbing her eyes, her pajamas adorned with a faded strawberry pattern. "It's in the laundry basket, remember? You gave a bath last night." Arthur knelt down to smooth the unruly hair from her forehead, catching a whiff of her familiar baby shampoo. His gaze drifted to the message from Eva on the coffee table. "Classes are so intense. I might not have time for a video call this week." The microwave in the kitchen pinged. As Arthur poured warmed milk into Emma's cartoon-themed bowl, his phone vibrated. A bank alert flashed. A €328 transaction at a jewelry store in Venice. That's strange. He swiped open a screen to check the supplementary card statement. Just last week, there had been a charge at a restaurant in Florence. Eva's class schedule clearly stated this week was midterm exams. "Look, Daddy." Emma suddenly held up a crayon drawing. 3 lopsided stick figures on the paper. "This is you, this is me, and this is Mommy flying in the sky." Arthur's thumb froze over the transaction record on his phone. He knelt down and pointed at the Mommy flying figure. "Why is Mommy in the sky?" "Because Mommy always says I'll be back soon, but the pigeons have flown away so many times already." Emma poked the window with her milk-stained finger. Outside, a flock of pigeons was gliding past the church steeple. His phone rang again. This time, it was his office assistant. Arthur answered while wiping Emma's sticky fingers with a wet wipe. "Mr. Schmidt, there's a server failure in Zurich. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up, then watched as Emma tucked her Winnie the Pooh book in her backpack. On the spine, Eva's handwriting, "For my dearest baby," was still faintly visible, dating back to last year on the subway. Arthur zoomed in on a photo Eva had sent the previous day. She stood in front of the Eiffel Tower, her scarf fluttering at an unnatural angle, as if someone was pulling it from the right. He kept magnifying the blurry reflection of a figure in the glass behind her until the train station announcement jolted him awake. Arthur, Clara, a colleague, stared at him in surprise in the elevator. "Your shirt is on inside out." He glanced down, noticing the care label peeking out. This shirt was a birthday gift from Eva last year. In the conference room, the blue glow of the projector highlighted the dark circles under his eyes. Cloud storage revenue grew 23% this quarter. Amid the presentation, he quietly opened the draft contract from the real estate agent. Selling his parents' old apartment would net him €79,650, just enough to cover Eva's Paris Business School tuition plus 6 months of living expenses that a downpour hit as he left work. Arthur draped his suit jacket over Emma's head and ran to her kindergarten, rain soaking through his shirt and seeping into his leather shoes. At the classroom door, Emma suddenly tugged at his sleeve. "Matilda says if Mommy and Daddy sleep in separate beds, it means they don't love each other anymore. Every family is different." Arthur knelt to fasten her rain boots. "Remember the sunflowers we planted? Some grow fast, some grow slow, but they all turn toward the sun." On the way home, Emma hummed an off-key nursery rhyme through the rain. Arthur felt his phone vibrate in his pocket. Eva's voice message came through, mixed with loud music. "Honey, the school wants a deposit for our group project." The traffic light turned red, and the windshield wipers swept arcs across the glass. Arthur stared at the ticking taxi meter, recalling the loan rejection email he'd received that morning. In the rearview mirror, Emma was drawing hearts in the fog on the window. "Daddy, can you read me a news story when we get home?" "Of course." He reached to turn up the heater and deleted the missed call from the real estate agent. The sound of raindrops hitting the roof was like a countdown. As Arthur carried Emma into the apartment elevator, her small hand suddenly grabbed his wet collar. "Daddy, will Mommy bring me a Venice mask? Like the one in the picture book?" "Of course she will." Arthur pressed the floor button. Water dripped from his hair onto his phone screen. Eva had just updated her social media. a sunset over the Venice canals with the caption "Group Field Trip Done." But in the corner of the photo, the reflection in a window clearly showed a man's wrist adorned with a Patek Philippe watch. While Emma blew bubbles in the bathtub, Arthur sat by the door, his phone wrapped in a towel, scrolling through the supplementary card transactions. Gucci in Florence, Bulgari in Rome. The merchant names pricked his eyes like needles. He zoomed in on a photo of Eva's class notes she'd sent. Half of a ETH Zurich logo peeked out from the edge of the paper. "Daddy." Emma held up a rubber duck and splashed water everywhere. "Matilda says there are dancing rats in Paris. Is that true?" Arthur paused as he turned off the faucet. "That's from the movie Ratatouille. It's not real." As he dried Emma's hair, he caught the scent of their shared body wash. The jasmine perfume Eva had packed in her suitcase, bought during their honeymoon in Lisbon, was nowhere to be found. Late that night, as he sorted through bills, his laptop pinged with a video call request from Paris. The moment Arthur answered, he heard jazz music in the background, and Eva's face glowed with an unnatural flush under warm filters. "Honey, is Emma asleep?" "She's already in bed." Arthur stared at the unfamiliar pearl earrings in her earlobes. The receipt for a €328 Venice jewelry store purchase matched the day she'd claimed to be studying late. "How were your midterms?" Eva's eyes darted to the right, and her fingers nervously picked to the camera edge. "They were tough." "Oh, by the way, can you send me another €2,000? Our group needs to order professional props for the presentation." Arthur's thumb brushed his burned scar, which throbbed faintly. "The bank rejected my loan application this morning. I don't have that much right now." He slowly dragged his mouse, sending a screenshot of the supplementary card transactions to her chat. His finger hovered over the Venice jewelry store line, "But that sapphire necklace you bought in Venice must be more important than presentation props, right?" The smile on her face froze instantly. A man's cough came from off-screen, and Eva jumped to her feet. The camera panned past a hotel nightstand with 2 half-empty champagne flutes and a men's briefcase engraved with the ETH Zurich logo. "That's a classmate who borrowed my room to discuss a project. He left his things here." Eva's voice tightened, and her nails dug into the camera edge. "Leo's just our group's academic advisor. Don't overthink it." Arthur's heartbeat roared in his ears, loud enough to drown out everything else. He opened the photos saved on his phone, placing Leo's LinkedIn profile picture, showing a man wearing a Patek Philippe, next to the reflection in Eva's social media photo. His fingers whitened from gripping the phone too hard. What a coincidence. The watch this academic advisor is wearing is exactly the one you bought with the supplementary card at that Zurich watch store. Are you spying on me? Eva's voice sharpened, and the jazz music cut off abruptly. You never used to be like this. Why are you so paranoid now? Emma's cries suddenly came from the bedroom, groggy with sleep. Arthur abandoned the call and rushed to the children's room. His daughter was sitting on the bed, sobbing, clutching her teddy bear, her eyes red like a frightened rabbit. As he lifted her into his arms, he heard Leo's voice from the disconnected call, thick with a Swiss accent. I told you we should delete the transaction records. At 5 a.m., Arthur found a new crayon family portrait on the kitchen counter. Emma had colored Mommy's face black, and next to it, scrawled in wobbly letters, was liar. He knocked over his coffee cup by accident. Brown liquid soaked the paper, turning the word liar into a blurry smudge. Daddy? Emma stood at the kitchen door, barefoot, hugging her teddy bear, its ears still damp from the previous night's wash. Matilda says there's a parents' day at school today. Can you come? Arthur quickly locked his phone screen and folded the drawing into a drawer. He didn't want Emma to see it again. I'll take the day off. Of course I'll come. Before he could finish, the doorbell rang. On the intercom screen, Eva stood in the hallway with a suitcase, wearing the magenta scarf he'd picked out for her last Christmas. It makes you look fair, she'd said then, that Emma's teddy bear fell to the floor with a thud. She ran to the door, her voice bright with joy. Mommy. Arthur opened the door, and a gust of cold air rushed in, carrying an unfamiliar perfume. Nothing like their jasmine scent. It matched the €189 Barcelona perfume shop charge on the statement. Eva still wore the pearl earrings, and she reached out to hug Emma, not noticing when her daughter stepped back. Surprise. I finished my defense early. I came back to see you too. Her eyes flicked over Arthur's shoulder into the apartment. Leo's helping me carry my luggage up. His car is still downstairs. Leo. Arthur's voice sounded like a rusted gear, stuck and creaky. The elevator dinged, and a man in a camel coat stepped out, carrying Eva's suitcase. A Patek Philippe glinted on his wrist under the hallway light. Exactly the one Arthur had seen in the bills and photos. Emma suddenly hid behind Arthur's legs, her small hands fisting his pants until her knuckles turned white. "This is my colleague, Uncle Leo," Eva said, bending down to pat Emma's head. But Emma buried her face in Arthur's knee, whispering no. Leo knelt down, forcing a warm smile. "Hello, little princess. Your mommy has so many photos of you on her phone. She says you're the sweetest." Arthur's gaze fixed on Leo's hand. He was holding his phone, the camera subtly pointed at Emma. "It's illegal in Germany to photograph a child without permission," Arthur said, stepping sideways to block his daughter. His voice was as cold as the hallway air. "Just a souvenir, nothing more," Leo said, locking his phone slowly. Arthur caught a glimpse of the photo gallery preview. A picture of Emma at the kindergarten gate, the clock in the background showing 3 p.m. last Wednesday. The same day, Eva had claimed to be writing a paper in the library. Eva's high heels clicked into the living room, oblivious to the tension between the others. "Where's the bathroom?" "The Paris subway is disgusting. I need a shower." She kicked open her suitcase, revealing a laundry bag emblazoned with a Spanish hotel logo. Proof of the Barcelona charge. Leo's phone lit up, and Arthur read the WhatsApp notification on the lock screen. "Eva, delete the videos before the social worker's home visit tomorrow. Don't get caught. Mind if I use the bathroom?" Leo brushed past Arthur, his cologne mixing with aftershave, matching Eva's perfume. Emma suddenly tugged at Arthur's sleeve, whispering, "Daddy, this uncle looks like the man behind Mommy in the video call last time." Water ran in the bathroom as Eva rummaged for coffee in the kitchen. "Oh, by the way," she said casually, "the school asked for a copy of Emma's vaccination record. Something about updating student files. Can you find it? I need to take it tomorrow." "Which hotel are you staying at?" Arthur interrupted, his fingers tight with anger. Eva's spoon clattered against the mug. "Hotel? I just got back from Paris. I came straight here. I didn't stay at a hotel. The €419 charge at a Barcelona hotel. Yesterday." Arthur pulled out his phone. The lock screen was a photo of Emma in a swan costume at her kindergarten performance, grinning widely. "Or should we check Leo's hotel booking history? I'm sure his phone has it." The water in the bathroom stopped. Leo walked out, his hands still damp, and smiled. "Eva, your daughter is adorable, especially when she skips out of kindergarten. So full of energy. You been down to pick up a crayon Emma had dropped. I saw her there yesterday. Actually, I wanted to say hello, but I didn't want to disturb her." Arthur's fist moved before his brain could stop it. Leo stumbled back into the shoe cabinet, and his phone slid across the doormat, its screen lighting up to show the photo gallery. The latest video thumbnail was Emma playing on the kindergarten slide, timestamped 3 p.m. last Wednesday, the same time Eva had been in the library. "Have you been stalking my daughter?" Arthur grabbed Leo by the collar. His fingers brushed a crescent-shaped bite mark on Leo's collarbone, exactly the same shape as the red mark Eva had hidden under her pajama neckline during their last video call. Eva's scream cut through the air. "Are you crazy? Arthur, you're hitting him." She rushed over to pry his fingers loose, her nails scratching red lines on his back of his hand. Leo was just passing by the kindergarten. Stop overreacting. Passing by? From Zurich to Munich. Arthur shoved her aside and picked up Leo's phone. In the recently deleted folder were more photos, close-ups of Emma at the playground, taken from behind a tree, dated last Saturday, the day Eva had gone to the museum with classmates. Emma's cries came from the bedroom, followed by the thud of her teddy bear hitting the door. Leo wiped blood from the corner of his mouth and sneered. "Eva said you were controlling." She wasn't lying. "People like you don't deserve to raise child." Arthur opened the cloud backup on the phone. Screenshots of chat messages filled the screen. Next to Leo's profile picture was a message sent the previous day. "Remember what you promised me. Every part of your body is mine. Don't even think about turning back." Eva lunged for the phone, her pearl earrings scraping Arthur's chin and leaving a thin cut. The perfume on her body made his stomach heave. It was the scent they'd rejected during their Lisbon trip. "Too tacky," Eva had said then. Now she wore it, standing in his home with another man. "Give me Emma's vaccination record." Eva panted, her breath hot against his neck, reeking of champagne. "I need it for tomorrow. Don't mess this up." Arthur stepped back, bumping into the refrigerator. The door jarred open, revealing a birthday cake inside, for Emma, whose birthday was next week. The cream frosting had started to sag, just like the message Eva had sent 3 days earlier. "I'm too busy with finals to make it to Emma's birthday. Buy her a cake for me." Leo straightened his crumpled collar. A red reminder popped up on his watch. Home visit, 2:00 p.m. He quickly turned off the screen, but Arthur had already read the note below. Confirm custody evaluation bias. Teach Emma to say, "I want to live with mommy." A clatter came from the bathroom mirror cabinet. Emma had stood on her tiptoes and grabbed Eva's makeup bag. A silver men's razor fell out, clattering on the tile floor, engraved with the cursive letter L. Emma stepped back in fright, tears welling in her eyes. Arthur knelt to pick up the razor. His finger brushed wet, white shaving cream on the blade. Still fresh, clearly used recently. Care to explain this? Arthur held up the razor to Eva, his wrist trembling with rage. Eva's mascara ran, black streaks streaming down her cheeks. "Leo left it in my bag. He borrowed it yesterday to store his things. I forgot to take it out." She suddenly turned to the bathroom door, her voice urgent. "Honey, can you bring me my makeup bag? I need to get ready." Leo leaned against the doorframe, smirking. "Eva, your husband seems awfully sensitive about men's toiletries." He reached for the razor, but Arthur gripped it tighter, the blade edge digging into his palm. "Last week, you said you were writing a group paper." Arthur opened his phone gallery and zoomed in on a photo of Eva's desk. On the laptop lid was the ETH Zurich logo. "Now tell me, why is Leo's laptop in your dorm room?" Emma suddenly tugged at his pants leg, her voice tearful. "Daddy, I'm scared. Can we make them leave?" Her small finger pointed at the pause video on Leo's phone. She could see herself playing at the kindergarten gate, secretly filmed. Leo locked his phone quickly, his tone provocative. "Munich kindergartens have terrible security. I could take photos from across the street, and no one would stop me. How long have you been stalking my daughter?" Arthur's voice was rough, like sandpaper on wood. He scrolled through Leo's photo gallery. More pictures of Emma, getting vaccinated at the children's hospital, buying candy at the supermarket, even playing on the swing in the neighborhood park. The earliest one was a month old, shortly after Eva had left for Paris. Eva's high heels tapped anxiously on the floor. Arthur, Leo, was just worried about me, so he checked on Emma. Don't misinterpret it. Checked on her. Arthur opened Leo's WhatsApp chats. The latest message from Eva read, "I sent the gynecological exam report to your email. Delete it when you're done. Don't let Arthur see it." It was sent last Thursday, the same day Leo had been location tagged at Lake Geneva and Eva had pulled an all-nighter at the library. Leo snatched the phone back and furiously tapped the screen. "Invading privacy is a criminal offense in Germany, Mr. Schmidt." The bite mark on his collarbone glowed purple under the bathroom light. Stark and ugly, the cold pain stabbed Arthur's stomach, sharp enough to make him stagger. He remembered the 680 euros he'd sent Eva last month. She'd said, "I have a gynecological infection and need medicine," and sent a photo of a receipt. Now, comparing it to the exam report on Leo's phone, he saw that anti-inflammatory drugs had been crossed out with a marker and replaced with vitamins. The actual cost was only 230 euros. The rest had gone to the Barcelona perfume shop. "So you were on vacation with him in Zurich?" Arthur shoved the bank statement in Eva's face, his fingers white with tension. "And you used my money to pay for your birth control pills?" Emma's cries erupted, loud and desperate. She shook her head wildly, her small fists clenched. "Stop fighting. Mommy, Daddy, stop." She threw her teddy bear at Leo. It hit his Patek Philippe with a dull thud. Eva knelt to hug her, but Emma pulled away like a scared rabbit, hiding behind Arthur. "Mommy smells bad." She pointed at the unfamiliar perfume on Eva. "You're not my real mommy." Leo straightened his crumpled collar, his tone dismissive. "Eva, your daughter needs a therapist. She's not normal right now." He noticed Arthur scrolling through the cloud backup chats and lunged for the phone, his nails scratching the screen. The conversation on the screen was clear. "Leo, remember, no contact with Arthur alone. Send me all your messages first. Eva, don't worry. My heart is only with you. Every part of my body is yours. Leo, use Arthur's credit card for your gynecological follow-up. Don't use your own." Arthur's knuckles turned white, his grip on the phone so tight it almost cracked. "How long have you been planning this?" He scrolled further and found Emma's kindergarten schedule in the chats, plus a message from Leo. "Teacher to say, I want to live with mommy before the social worker comes. It'll help with custody. Eva's pearl earring fell out during the struggle, rolling under the refrigerator with a clink. She rummaged through her bag, panicking. "Give me Emma's vaccination record. The social worker is coming tomorrow. I can't mess this up." "So that's it." Arthur let out a dry, bitter laugh, loud enough to make Emma cover her ears. He opened Leo's calendar app. The red home visit reminder had note, critical custody evaluation. Make sure the child sides with Eva. Leo's Swiss accent turned sharp. He spoke in English, as if trying to hide his words from Emma, forgetting Arthur had lived in Germany for over a decade and spoke English better than he did. In Switzerland, infidelity doesn't affect child custody decisions. You can't stop us. But Emma understood the word infidelity. She grabbed a crayon and scribbled wildly on the wall. Daddy, what's infidelity? Why did Mommy do that? The crayon snapped against the wallpaper, colorful shards scattering across the floor. Arthur picked her up and gently patted her back, breathing in the familiar scent of their unscented body wash, not the jasmine Eva used to bathe her in. Since Eva had left for Paris, Emma had said, "Jasmine makes me miss Mommy," so Arthur had switched. "It's okay, baby. We don't have to talk about it. Daddy will read you a story, okay?" Eva suddenly smashed a coffee cup on the floor. Shards flew across the room, nicking Arthur's ankle. "Enough. Arthur, you're going too far. Leo is an elite from ETH Zurich. Way better than someone like you who just fixes servers." "Someone like me?" Arthur covered Emma's ears, his eyes cold as ice. "Someone who sold his apartment to pay for your tuition? Someone who reads his daughter bedtime stories every night and washes her teddy bear? Is that what you mean?" Leo's phone pinged. Arthur glimpsed the lock screen notification. "Real estate agent, I've revised the co-ownership agreement as you requested. Ready to sign anytime." Marital co-ownership? Arthur's voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of a sledgehammer. "My parents' premarital apartment? When did that become ours?" Eva's foundation cracked at the olla of the nose like a mask splitting apart. The appreciation after marriage is community property. It's in the German Civil Code. "Don't you know the law?" She recited the legal terms like a parrot, reminding Arthur of the notes he'd stayed up late compiling for her exam preparation. His handwriting still marked the margins. Emma squirmed out of his arms and picked up Leo's fallen wallet. She opened the photo slot inside. All the pictures of her and Eva had been replaced with photos of Leo and Eva kissing in front of the Eiffel Tower. In the photos, Eva smiled brighter than she ever had when she was married to Arthur. "Liars. You're both liars." Emma scribbled over the photos with a crayon, her tears turning the black wax into smudges. Arthur noticed she was using the same yellow crayon she'd used for the family portrait. It was already too short to hold properly. Leo grabbed his coat, his patience worn thin. "Eva, let's go. Stop wasting time with him." He tugged her wrist, but Arthur's phone chimed. He'd opened the voice recorder. Section 238 of the German Criminal Code states that stalking a minor can result in up to 2 years in prison. Aggravating circumstances can lead to a longer sentence. Arthur backed up the videos from Leo's phone to the cloud. The screen showed backup 100% complete. "And with these special chat records, you won't even be able to stay in Switzerland." Eva hesitated at the door, her voice pleading. "Arthur, just give me Emma's vaccination record. I'm begging you. The social worker is coming tomorrow. Get out." Arthur picked up Emma, feeling her tremble in his arms. Her small head pressed against his shoulder. "Take your academic advisor with you. And don't ever show your faces to Emma or me again." The moment the door closed, Emma vomited on Arthur's shoulder. The sour smell of milk mixed with tears soaked through his shirt, right over the burn scar on his left shoulder. The old wound throbbed. He felt his phone vibrate in his pocket. Eva had sent a message. "Be cooperative during the social worker's visit at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll accuse you of child abuse." Outside, the engine of Leo's Mercedes roared to life, fading into the rainy night. Arthur wiped the vomit from Emma's chin and found a crumpled paper in her hand. An appointment slip from a Munich child psychology clinic, with Emma's full name on the patient line. The appointment was scheduled for the next afternoon, right after the social worker's visit. Arthur stared at the slip, his fingers trembling. He suddenly understood. Eva and Leo weren't just fighting for custody. They planned to label Emma mentally unstable to prove he was an unfit father. "Daddy, why did that uncle take pictures of me? Why did he make an appointment for me with a doctor?" Emma's voice was confused. She buried her face in his neck, her breath warm and rapid. Arthur crumpled the slip and threw it in the trash. "Some people just like doing bad things. But Daddy will protect you. No one will hurt you." His phone vibrated again. An alert from the IT department about the server failure. Red warnings flashing on the screen. "Daddy, do you have to go fix the computer?" Emma tugged his sleeve. Her strawberry pajamas were still stained with vomit, sad and crumpled. Arthur knelt down and looked her in the eyes, his voice steady. "Daddy isn't going anywhere today. I'm staying with you." He opened his laptop. The blue screen glow highlighted the dark circles under his eyes. He'd stayed up until 3 a.m. sorting through bills. Emma's small feet rested on his lap as she pointed at the folders on the screen. 1, 2, 3. Daddy, you have so many files. Are they for the police uncles? Yes, 56 files total. Arthur zoomed in on Leo's LinkedIn profile, where his academic achievements were displayed. In the acknowledgments of one paper, he read, "Thanks to Eva.S for her late-night companionship and support." It was published last month, when Eva had claimed to be busy studying. These files are enough to compile a report for the people who need to see it. The kitchen faucet started dripping, drip, drip like a countdown. Emma jumped down, stood on her tiptoes, and tightened the tap. Arthur had taught her, saving water is a good habit. When she came back, she was holding Eva's forgotten makeup bag. Mommy doesn't want this anymore? She used to love this bag. Arthur opened the hidden pocket of the makeup bag. Inside was a folded gynecological exam report, dated last Thursday, the same day Leo had been location tagged at Lake Geneva. On the back was a pharmacy receipt, with birth control pills crossed out in marker, though the words were still legible. Daddy, what's vitamins? Emma pointed at the crossed out part. She didn't know birth control pills, only the word vitamins next to it. Arthur closed the makeup bag and tucked it deep in the drawer. They're things that keep people healthy. But not everyone needs them. He opened the ETH Zurich website. Leo's photo was featured on the homepage as an outstanding PhD student, his smile warm and trustworthy. No one would guess how dirty he was behind that facade. As his mouse hovered over the report button, Emma climbed onto his lap and wrapped her small hand around his trembling finger. Daddy, your hands are so cold. I'll warm them for you. Her warm, soft hand pressed down on his finger, exactly as he clicked send. The report email, with 56 pages of evidence attached, flew to the university disciplinary committee's inbox. 3 hours later, his laptop pinged with a new email. The disciplinary committee's reply was clear. After initial verification, Leo M. is suspected of academic misconduct and inappropriate relationships. His exchange program qualification has been suspended, and a formal investigation has begun. He had worried the response would be slow, so he'd attached video clips of Leo stalking Emma, plus explicit chats with Eva, plus fake academic acknowledgments to the email, even marking the page numbers of key evidence. He hadn't expected the committee to act so quickly. Daddy, the sun is setting. It's getting dark. Emma pointed out the window. The sunset painted the sky orange, and the black sun she'd drawn on the wall earlier now glowed faintly in the light. Arthur rubbed his tired eyes and picked her up. Yes, it's time for bed. He tucked her under the covers, only to find she'd secretly hidden Leo's fallen lighter in her pajama pocket. It was silver, engraved with the initials LM. Emma, this is dangerous. You can't play with it. Arthur gently took the lighter and put it in the drawer. Next time you see something like this, tell Daddy, okay? Emma nodded and closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed as she fell asleep. Arthur sat by the bed and opened the university forum. The anonymous section was exploding. Shocking. ETH heartthrob, Leo M. cheats on 4 married women simultaneously. Explosive chat records plus minor stalking. Blurry screenshots were attached. Word of the disciplinary committee's investigation must have leaked. Eva called at 2 a.m., the shrill ring cutting through the quiet night. Arthur stared at the flashing Paris on his screen and let it ring 12 times before declining. A voice message followed, Eva's voice sharp as a poison blade. Are you happy now? Leo's been summoned by the academic committee, and his exchange qualification is gone. You're a lunatic. Arthur placed the phone beside Emma's pillow, silencing it. His daughter frowned in her sleep, her small hand unconsciously covering her ear as if woken by the noise. He opened Leo's Instagram, posted half an hour ago, location tagged at Munich Central Station, caption, leaving for now, but I'll be back soon. Eva had liked it. Marital co-ownership of the apartment? Arthur replied to Eva's message and forwarded the property deed he'd just received from the registration office. Do you want me to scan the 1985 purchase contract for you? My parents bought this apartment when you were still a baby. Eva's next voice message was garbled, as if she was hiding in a public bathroom. Her voice faded in and out. The appreciation is community property. It's in Section 1363 of the German Civil Code. Your parents have been dead for years. Their things are yours, which means they're mine. Arthur pressed the voice recorder and held the phone to his mouth, his voice calm but powerful. Say that again? Repeat what you said about my parents. Muffled curses from Leo came through the receiver, followed by the sound of something breaking. Then Eva's tone suddenly softened, like a snake hissing. Arthur, let's talk in person. Don't make this worse. Tomorrow I'll take Emma to the zoo. She's always wanted to see giraffes, right? Bring your social worker along. Arthur opened Leo's calendar and saw an important meeting scheduled for 10 a.m. tomorrow, noted as social worker home visit. Or first explain why you and Leo are in Germany, but lied to me about being in Paris. Emma whimpered and rolled over, muttering in her sleep. Mommy smells bad. Don't want mommy. At 6 a.m., a second email from the disciplinary committee appeared. The student Leo M. has been placed on academic probation. His supervisor has applied to revoke his PhD candidacy. Further investigation results will be notified separately. Arthur spilled coffee on the printed email. Brown stains blurred the words moral turpitude, severe impact. What are you looking at, Daddy? Emma sat up, rubbing her eyes, still clutching her teddy bear. She poked the Leo M. on the screen with her jam-stained finger. Arthur wiped the jam from her chin and crumpled the paper. It's a bad person's report card. He failed his exam and is being punished. He noticed she brought over the family portrait she'd drawn last night. Mommy's face was still black, but she'd added a small sun with a new yellow crayon. The doorbell rang. Emma stood on a stool, helping Arthur bind the evidence files, her small hands holding the stapler, pressing down crookedly but earnestly. On the intercom screen, Eva's makeup was smudged black like a panda's, and she waved a key. Open up. This is my home. I have the right to come in. According to Section 1361B of the German Civil Code, Arthur said into the intercom, his voice clear and firm, during separation, you may not enter the other party's residence without permission. Otherwise, it constitutes trespassing. Bullshit. This is my home. Eva banged her fist on the door, loud and violent. Leo's future is ruined. Do you know his advisor is a Nobel Prize winner? You've destroyed his life. Emma scrambled under the table, trembling as she hugged her teddy bear. Arthur knelt down and looked her in the eyes, his voice soft. Remember what Matilda said? What happens to bad people? The police uncles will take them away. Emma stammered, her small hands fisting Arthur's shirt buttons until her knuckles turned white. Leo's voice came from outside, impatient. Eva, stop wasting time with him. Call a locksmith. We'll go in and get our things. His Swiss accent sounded harsh in German. We're fighting for custody anyway. Let him see how powerful we are. Arthur pressed the voice recorder and spoke into the intercom. Say that again? Repeat what you said about custody. I didn't hear you clearly. Recording won't help you. Eva screamed, her voice cracking. The judge will know you're a control freak. You hit Leo and won't let me see my daughter. You're not fit to be a father. Emma needs a normal mother, not a lunatic like you. Emma suddenly shouted at the door. Liar mommy, you're a bad mommy. The crayon in her hand flew out, hitting the door with a slap. Weak, but defiant, Leo's footsteps approached the peephole. Arthur saw him holding his phone, filming through the lens. Mr. Schmidt, we already have Emma's psychological evaluation report. The doctor says she has severe separation anxiety. All because you won't let her see her mother. Arthur's fists tightened. He suddenly remembered the crumpled appointment slip in the trash. They'd already prepared a fake evaluation report to frame Emma as mentally unstable. Is that so? Well, the police will be here soon. They can look at your fake report and the videos of you stalking my daughter. Siren wails approached from downstairs, growing louder. Leo's voice panicked. Eva, what do we do? Why are the police here? I didn't call them. Arthur sneered into the intercom. But I guess the disciplinary committee sent the evidence of you stalking a minor to the police. He picked up the trembling Emma and whispered in her ear. Remember the safe word Daddy taught you? She buried her face in the burned scar on his shoulder, her voice tearful but clear. Sunflower. The moment the police car stopped, Eva's tone turned pleading. Arthur, let's settle this privately. Withdraw your report, and I'll give up the apartment. I won't fight for custody anymore. We can go our separate ways. Too late. Arthur stuffed the 56 pages of evidence into his briefcase. The last page was a screenshot of the video showing Emma being stalked, marked with the time and location. By the way, was Leo with you during your gynecological exam? That's 680 euros receipt. You only spent 230 euros on it, right? Shut up. Eva's nails scraped the door, a harsh, screeching sound like nails on glass. It was just a misunderstanding. I didn't lie to you on purpose. Just use my money to buy birth control pills for you and your lover. Arthur pressed send, forwarding the complete evidence to his divorce lawyer, Lynn. The screen showed read, and Lin replied quickly, "The evidence is sufficient. Custody will most likely be awarded to you. I'll file the lawsuit materials as soon as possible." Emma suddenly pointed out the window, excited. "Daddy, the police uncles are here. They're wearing blue clothes." The fear in her voice faded a little. Arthur carried her to the window. Two police officers stood at the door, holding a restraining order. Leo was edging toward the elevator, the hem of his camel coat fluttering in the wind. "Mr. Schmidt?" The lead officer held up the restraining order, its red seal prominent. "These two are suspected of violating a family protection order and stalking a minor. Please cooperate with our investigation." Leo brushed past the officer's arm, backing toward the elevator. "It's a misunderstanding, all of it. I was just dropping off a friend. Nothing more." His Swiss accent faltered at the end of his German sentences, his eyes darting away from the officers. Eva's high heels crushed the crayon Emma had thrown earlier. It snapped in two. "This is my husband. He's illegally detaining my daughter." Her nails pointed to the half-hidden crayon drawing under the table. Next to the black stick figure, the word liar was scrawled in wobbly letters. Arthur felt Emma's rapid heartbeat through her pajamas. He pulled out the psychology clinic appointment slip Leo had dropped and handed it to the police. "They made this appointment for my daughter right after the social worker's visit. I suspect they're trying to fake a mental health issue for her to fight for custody. It's a forgery. It's fake." Leo lunged for the slip, his Patek Philippe scraping the officer's walkie-talkie, causing a burst of static. The officer frowned and held him by the shoulder, his tone stern. "Sir, please show us your ID and cooperate with the investigation. Otherwise, we will take coercive measures." Emma's sobs turned to screams. "Don't touch my daddy. You're all bad people." She clung tightly to Arthur's neck, her strawberry pajamas slipping to reveal the faint pink burn scar on his shoulder, raw and prominent. "This child clearly has trauma symptoms." The female officer knelt down and looked Emma in the eyes, her voice soft. "Sweetheart, tell Andy. Who makes you scared?" Emma's finger wavered between Leo and Eva, then pointed firmly at Eva's magenta scarf. "Mommy brought a monster home. The monster took pictures of me and tried to take me away." The crayon in her hand slipped and fell to the floor, breaking again. The sneer froze on Leo's face. He tried to defend himself, but the officer was already scrolling through his phone gallery. The latest video showed Emma being led across the street by her kindergarten teacher, with Leo hiding behind a tree, his camera following her every move. Section 238 of the German Criminal Code states that stalking a minor can result in up to 2 years in prison for serious cases. The officer's pen paused on his notebook as he wrote carefully. "Do you have anything else to explain?" "That's my daughter. I'm her mother." Eva grabbed the officer's sleeve, her nails leaving crescent-shaped scratches on the uniform. "What's wrong with me seeing my own daughter?" During a custody dispute, the female officer pulled her arm free, her tone serious. "Unilaterally contacting the child, especially with stalking and filming, constitutes a violation of the law." She noticed Emma was still clinging tightly to the hem of Arthur's old shirt, her fingers white with tension. Leo's Patek Philippe glinted in the elevator reflection. He pressed the elevator button repeatedly, his voice urgent. "Eva, call the lawyer. Get him here now." He backed into a fire hydrant, and his briefcase popped open, revealing an ETH Zurich-branded notebook and a stack of photos. Arthur knelt to pick up the photos, his heart slamming against his chest. In them, 3 different women stood with children in front of civil affairs bureaus in different cities, each with Leo by their side. The date spanned his entire PhD program. The earliest was 5 years ago, the latest last year, when Eva had met him. "Bigamy." The officer prodded the photos with his shoe, his eyes sharp. "You've been married twice before, and you have children with both wives." Arthur recognized the background in one photo. The Zurich City Hall, exactly the same location Eva had used in her recent social media post. He suddenly realized Eva wasn't the first woman Leo had tricked, and she wouldn't be the last. Emma squirmed in his arms, pointing at the women in the photos. "Daddy, who is that auntie? Why is she standing with the uncle, holding a little kid? They're bad people." Arthur gently turned her face away from the photos. "We'll never see them again." Eva's foundation cracked at the ala of the nose like a broken mask. "I didn't know. Leo never told me he was married. I was tricked." She burst into tears, her voice shrill. "He lied to me. He said he was single, that he'd marry me. That's why I was with him." The female officer held up an evidence bag containing Leo's business card. It read, "Leo M., Certified Counselor, Zurich Marriage Counseling Center." A marriage counselor suspected of bigamy. deceiving women and stalking minors? The officer's tone was mocking. That's quite ironic. This is the third time. The officer flipped through a file, his tone serious. In your previous 2 divorce cases, Mr. M, the mothers voluntarily gave up custody. Both cited deception and controlling behavior as reasons. Were you planning to make Mrs. Schmidt do the same? He glanced at the black sun Emma had drawn on the wall and the wobbly word liar next to it. Leo pressed the elevator button frantically, his voice desperate. This is slander. All of it. I'll contact the Swiss embassy. You can't treat me like this. His phone lock screen lit up. A photo of Eva making a heart gesture in front of the Eiffel Tower, dated on Emma's birthday. That day, Eva had said, "I'm too busy studying in the library to video call." Arthur's burn scar throbbed faintly, a reminder of old pain. Emma counted the stars on the officer's epaulets, her voice curious. "Daddy, will the police uncles take all the bad people away?" "Yes." Arthur wrapped his hand around hers. She still clutched a crumb of crayon. "All the bad people who hurt Emma will be taken away." He noticed the female officer was drawing a map in her notebook, red lines connecting the civil affairs bureaus in 3 cities, plus Munich's kindergarten and playground. Every place Leo had stalked Emma. Eva suddenly knelt down and grabbed Emma's ankle, her voice pleading, "Baby, Mommy was wrong. I'll never lie to you again. Come with Mommy, okay? I'll buy you a Venice mask, a new teddy bear, anything you want." Her mascara ran down her cheeks like black streams that Emma's strawberry pajamas were smudged with Eva's lipstick. She kicked her away, her voice rejection clear. "No, I don't want to go with you. You're a bad mommy. Daddy is the best." Leo broke free from the officer's grip and ran for the elevator. Photos spilled from his briefcase, including a nude photo of Eva, with mine written on the back, dated last month. "Stop him," the officer shouted. 2 officers chased after him, prying open the elevator doors just as they closed. Leo was dragged out, handcuffs clicking around his wrists. "Daddy, Matilda says liars lose their teeth. Will Mommy lose her teeth?" Emma pointed the lipstick on Eva's front tooth, whispering that Eva's lips trembled, and she couldn't speak. The female officer held up an evidence bag containing Leo's phone and wallet. "Mr. M is suspected of bigamy, fraud, and stalking a minor. He will be detained for questioning. Mrs. Schmidt, you're suspected of aiding fraud and fabricating evidence. Please come with us too." The sound of the officer closing his file folder scared the pigeons outside. Arthur watched as the last feather drifted onto Eva's suitcase, stuck in the door, the magenta scarf hanging out like an unhealed wound. According to Section 1632 of the Child Protection Act, the officer spoke into his walkie-talkie. "We recommend granting temporary custody of Emma to her father, Mr. Arthur Schmidt. The mother, Eva Schmidt, is suspected of fraud and aiding and stalking and is unfit to have custody." Eva's perfume mixed with tears in the air, a cloying scent that made Arthur frown. He suddenly noticed her left ring finger. Her wedding ring was gone, replaced by a pale tan line, the exact shape of the Patek Philippe logo on Leo's watch. She'd taken off her wedding ring long ago and never told him. "We'll see you in court, Arthur." As the officers led Eva away, she turned around, her high heels crushing Emma's fallen teddy bear. "The plastic I popped off with a snap. I won't give up custody. Just you wait." The officer knelt to pick up the teddy bear and handed it to Emma. On the back, the "For My Dearest Baby" tag was still sewn on. Eva had stitched it last year, and now she'd crushed it with her own foot. As the elevator doors closed, Emma suddenly asked, "Daddy, why doesn't Mommy want me anymore? She used to love me, right?" She held the teddy bear tightly, one plastic eye missing, looking Kalan and small. Arthur wrapped his hand around hers, the crayon crumb sticking to his fingerprint. "It's not that Emma is bad. Mommy did something wrong, and she needs to fix it. Daddy Sunflower is the bravest, isn't she?" The female officer knelt down and looked Emma in the eyes, her voice gentle. "Sweetheart, tell Auntie. What's your favorite thing to do with Daddy?" "Plant sunflowers." Emma's eyes lit up, the sadness fading a little. "Daddy reads me Winnie the Pooh, helps me wash my teddy bear, and makes me oatmeal with milk." She suddenly turned to Arthur. "Daddy, the teddy bears I fell off. Can we fix it?" "Of course we can." Arthur carried her to the sofa and took out a needle and thread. Eva's old sewing kit, now used to repair Emma's toys. "We'll fix the teddy bears eye together, okay?" The officer's walkie-talkie crackled. "Headquarters confirms Leo M is suspected of 3 cases of cross-border custody fraud. 2 more victims have contacted the police to testify." He flipped through the statements from the 3 women, his tone serious. ETH Zurich just sent a letter requesting assistance with the investigation into Leo's academic misconduct. The evidence has been submitted. Eva's high heels faded down the hallway, gone for good. Arthur threaded the needle, and Emma sat on his lap, holding the teddy bear, watching intently. Sunlight streamed through the window, warming them like a mother's embrace from long ago. "Look, Daddy, we fixed the teddy bear's eye." Emma held up the toy, grinning widely, showing her two small front teeth. Arthur nodded and hugged her tighter. He glanced at Eva's suitcase, still stuck in the elevator door, the magenta scarf hanging out like an unhealed wound. But Arthur knew his and Emma's wounds would slowly heal. The washing machine beeped. Emma's teddy bear was clean. Arthur carried her over and took out the damp toy, drying it gently with a towel. Emma stroked its ear, whispering, "Teddy, you don't have to be scared of Mommy anymore. Daddy will protect us." Outside, Munich lit up as dusk fell. Streetlights flickered on like stars, lighting the way home. Emma counted the windows in the opposite building, then turned to him. "Daddy, can we have real sunflowers in our new home? Let's buy seeds tomorrow, okay?" "Okay." Arthur smiled and lifted her up, kissing her forehead. "Tomorrow we'll buy sunflower seeds and plant them in pots on the balcony. They'll grow up with Emma." The printer stopped, spitting out the last page, a custody evaluation report from Lawyer Lin. It read, "It is recommended that custody of Emma be awarded to her father, Arthur Schmidt. The mother, Eva Schmidt, is suspected of fraud and aiding and stalking and is unfit to have custody." Arthur tucked the report into a folder and found a new drawing Emma had made on the last page. A stick figure daddy holding a little girl's hand, yellow sunflowers blooming at their feet, the sun golden and bright, lighting up the whole picture. The title was Daddy and Little Flower. Arthur taped the drawing to the refrigerator, covering the old black family portrait. He sat on the sofa with Emma in his arms, opening the Winnie the Pooh book and reading softly. Her head rested on his shoulder, her breathing warm and steady as she fell asleep. Moonlight streamed through the window, covering father and daughter and the drawing on the refrigerator, the yellow sunflowers like small suns glowing in the night.